Joining me now, Joe Pagliarulo, the host of The Joe Pag Show, live on set in Dallas. What's up, Joe?
Good to sit here with an unalloyed truth teller, Will Cain. How you doing, brother?
It is a moment where we have to tell the truth.
Yes.
Because there's a real attempt here, as you had just heard, to suggest NPR and PBS are objective. And every American, rightful thinking American listening and watching right now knows that's not true.
Well, it isn't true. This is probably why they have Lisa Murkowski. I had no idea that Alaska only had PBS and NPR. At the end of the day, we all have the cell phones. You and I took a selfie before we started today. We all have information at our fingertips. What bothers me more about it, because what you just said is like the sky is blue. You didn't say anything that was earth-shattering, but you delivered it great. Unalloyed delivery. But what startles me is that you and I have to compete with them. And then we have to pay them to be our competitors. They literally get a bunch of, you don't get any money for the show from the government, do you?
No, I don't.
I don't get any money from my show. But yet PBS and NPR somehow couldn't exist without the, hundreds of millions of dollars that they get from you and me and everybody watching right now. It doesn't make any sense. It's an unfair balance, and there was no impetus until now for them to actually pretend that they were unbiased. We have every study. I know that you know our good friend Brandon Gill. When he had these CEOs in front of him in the House of Representatives, he called them out. That woman that you just showed, the blonde from, I guess, PBS or NPR, I'm not sure which one she's from, but she literally posted that she was for reparations, then sat in front of Brandon Gill and said, I'm not for reparations. They lie with such ease, Will. And I'm so glad that you're calling them out and you're being very, very systematic about exactly what they're doing and who they've been for their entire existence. We shouldn't have to compete with them for ad dollars. If that's a good product, and they seem to think it is, compete with us on an equal playing field. No more free money.
No, it is good to see Congressman Brandon Gill, and if it's useful at all for me to point out, again, that the sky is blue. It's not earth-shattering, but when someone is busy telling you the sky is green, it might be good to step up for a moment and go, that's not true. But the real offensive point isn't that they are liberal. Yeah. I have no problem if you want to hawk falsehoods on MSNBC.
Right.
I have a problem if my taxpayer dollars are forced to fund it. And that's the real point here that you are making that everyone should be thinking about. Why am I having money confiscated from my pocket into the pockets of Catherine Marr? It's NPR.
Yeah.
And I think that's a question that should be asked of Lisa Murkowski, to your point, of Alaska, or Susan Collins of Maine, those Republicans that voted against rescission.
And they don't give any really good excuse for why they voted against rescission. Getting back $8 or $9 billion into the Treasury to reallocate that to something that actually matters to us, not for some Sesame Street broadcast in Iraq, which makes no sense, not for Serbia to have some sort of a DEI play put on by us. And then when you ask the question why we're doing this, well, it's about foreign relations and keeping good relationships there. When it comes to NPR and PBS, though, you couldn't be more correct. They don't need your money and mine. In fact, I think it's 10% of their total get. Plus, they get to ask for private donations, which a ton of money comes in from. Plus, sell ads like we have. We sell ads because our shows are valuable to somebody. Show value. Don't just take money from us. I don't want to go down the rabbit hole of this, but I'm just going to mention it quickly. It's like Planned Parenthood. Half the country doesn't want to give them any money. So why are we giving them any money? Let them stand on their own. If they're really good at what they do, whatever the hell it is that they do, let them stand on their own 2 feet without your money, my money, and everybody watching's money.
And
it only makes sense.
In the modern age of communication as well, we don't need these public stations for information or emergency broadcasting. You can take over a private station, and even if you live in an area with no other over-air alternative, everyone now has one of these in their pocket.
Everybody.
And you will get what you need from emergency broadcasting.
What I like is that you've done your research because you're a young guy. You probably didn't deal with it like I had to. I'm 58 years old, so we had 4 channels on our television. We had Electric Company and Sesame Street and PBS and NPR on the radio and so on and so forth. There really was a vacuum for information. On your phone right now, you can go anywhere on the planet and search anything you want to search, whether it's AI or some sort of a search engine. Nobody is without information. They're afraid the indoctrination that they've been doing for all these years is going to go away, and I'm here for it.
That's exactly correct. Joe Pags, it's good to see you up here in Dallas. Got to see you last week in Kerrville. You asked an excellent question of the president. Thanks for making the drive up.
We always appreciate having you on. Unalloyed appreciation.
Check out the Unalloyed Joe Pags Show.
Thank you, brother.